No, I mean there's the bars are open late.
So
Occasionally there's
where
ships coming in late, ships going out, in the middle of the night. Because they have perishable goods or something like that. Um, it's very low key. And then there's certainly late night activities and stuff like that. Um, Now, most stuff shuts down, but there's still a few people wandering the streets, out, going out drinking, just doing things at night. So no, there's definitely other people out there besides guards.
Is there any way for us to watch the ships land and take off?
Sure, you could just go down to the low city and sit around, but there was only the one ship from House Torlin in port right now.
Mm.
Did we actually see that ship, or do we?
Yeah,
just
we
know
did.
it?
Yeah, they did.
Us lot saw the ship before we went to the pub.
Okay. So let's see. What would be the point of going into a discussion in the middle of the night?
Well, if you wanted to break into someone's house.
Where else?
else?
it was more of a cue for Lafdul to do something.
I know what you're saying, and I commented on it.
Don't say that in front of Ockar. He may object.
I do not approve.
Right. Well, I'm the dungeon master. When I ask you something, unless I'm asking as a character, I'm asking you, the players. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
Player
approves,
like for
the
example,
character does not.
if Lafdul wanted to do something at night that was less than legal, he could just say, "Hey guys, I'm going out. I'm going to go do a little bit of scouting. I got some sources to talk to. Be back later." That's not enough for the paladin to get in a tizzy over, shall we say?
Yeah. Well,
Sources.
It's pro and against, but I think there might be advantages to just having a late night excursion. Leva would, in that case, since she doesn't know what came out of the other group.
No, we'd have told you.
Yeah, we would have told
Yes,
each other.
but at the time she didn't. When she arrived back, she would have probably left the disguise on, because she doesn't know what's going to happen the rest of the evening. Unless the disguise is very uncomfortable, in which case she would have taken it off. Lafdul, is it very uncomfortable?
It's not good clothing.
Commoner's clothing, it's gonna chafe against you after a while.
Probably a bit itchy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
All right, so I've taken it off because it's chafing, and I'd ask if I went with Braxon, I'd ask Lafdul to help me putting it back on.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is, before, when we were looking for murders, we operated at night because that was a good time for who we were trying to track down. Now, what we're in is a situation where we're looking for attacks on ships away from Brow. So I can't really see what a late night excursion can help us with, unless someone has a specific reason for wanting to go out at night. Like maybe they think someone's spying on that other ship or something.
Well, I can see one reason. That is, if we don't actually do so already, we are starting to distrust House Torlin, I believe. And
you already don't trust Yalar.
And so going there might actually uncover something. Like if they are really into illegal stuff, then they wouldn't probably they wouldn't do it during the day if it's really illegal. So we might see a shipment coming or leave.
It's coming in later. It's these guys are not. This is happening away from Brawl, so there's no real reason to find out until we go out there and find out. But we're not quite doing that yet.
Yeah, Yellow's right.
Yeah.
Yeldin's right. Sorry. One thing I'm thinking about in the things we might want to do tomorrow is I know there's places that underwrite ships, and if what we're hearing about this House Torlane ship being pretty much a wreck and not having smoke powder on it, which is, I don't know if that's unusual. Don't know if you would know, Higgimus, whether it's unusual to carry around bombards and no smoke powder.
It was only apparently it was only real lock pistols on it. No bombards, no smoke powder.
Okay, but
there's still guns.
Yeah,
but no smoke powder.
No smoke powder. I don't know if that's unusual. If there is an organisation on Brow that does underwriting of ships, not something in my experience, it's another place where we could go to and perhaps get a reward. Because if this is some sort of elaborate insurance fraud where you destroy a useless, bashed up ship and get paid for a good quality ship, and your crew conveniently has disappeared, so you don't lose your good crewmen. Who knows? I'm not saying it is that, but if it is that, it's someone else that might pay us.
It's likely not that, because the other ship that went down wasn't like this ship. It was just this guy's ship.
Yeah.
I think he was just cutting corners.
Braxon and asks him, didn't you work on ships before? Or do work in that area in docks?
I've worked on ship construction. I've been learning on that. When I was younger, I lived on one of the farming asteroids near here, and I've sort of helped guard ships that have travelled between there and Brow.
Did you ever get a look at some of the cargo that came in or left?
Yeah, food.
But
that's what we had. Wheat, beer, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Load it on the ship. I mean, we had pretty rubbish ship boats. Sail it over to Brow, drop it off, go back, get paid.
Was any of that cargo magically protected?
No, definitely not. You don't.
Is it unusual to see a magically protected cargo?
Well, I've come up in the world. When you bring bread to Brow, you're not gonna have a wizard casting magical protection spells on.
You have a slow
bread.
degradation of food, I think, that preserves it for longer.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they could have done something like that, but I didn't know anything about that.
Do you want some additional? You want me to give you some additional information on that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so number one, as important and valuable as food is, it's not that valuable per pound compared to other things like bombards, smoke powder, that sort of thing. The farming asteroids are close enough that a trip generally only takes a couple days, kind of thing. So you don't need to do a whole lot of protection. You don't need to do more than your standard basic non-magical preservation protection for food materials to get it to Brawl. Things don't spoil that quickly for the stuff that was generally coming in. And if they did want some preservation, it would be a little bit easier to, find an ice asteroid or comet, carve off some ice, and make an ice box.
Mm-hmm.
So, Braxon would not be familiar with magical protection, but it would not be a stretch for him to realize that magical protection on much more valuable cargo that's, far more expensive pound for pound, so to speak, like bombards would be, or smoke powder, things like that, might, not necessarily require magical protection, but if someone can afford the magical protection, it would be a really wise thing to do.
Another thing to inquire in is it unusual for guns like wheellock pistols to be shipped without smoke powder?
Sure, if people just want to buy it. I mean, if you've already got a store of smoke powder, or you've got another source of smoke powder, then sure, shipping wheellocks and arquebuses without smoke powder is perfectly fine.
I was just wondering because I thought that might have been unusual, but it doesn't sound like it is.
Also, the House Torlin ship had primarily parts for wheellock pistols and arquebuses, as opposed to the complete things. That's what you were told.
Right.
So is that unusual for parts being shipped to Baral? I don't think so.
Nah, it's not that unusual.
Yeah, it's probably like he was shipping them to Brawl to put them together, then to ship out again.
Well,
More
also, considering the likelihood of misfires and damage to the weapons, you oftentimes want spare parts around to repair that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that
So
case,
someone not. Sorry, go ahead.
in that case, Leva is going to bed.
So someone like Higgimus will be buying those spare parts.
Or, I mean, you're talking about also bulk shipping. So chances are these are going to groundling dealers. You know that the main shipping lines are shipping all the stuff eventually to realm space.
Right.
So most of it's probably going to dealers on on the planets in realm space for sale to individuals there. So it's not so much that House Torlin or Kalain or Yelar are bringing that you would go to one of these places and buy the actual stuff. In addition, if they're selling to they may sell stuff to the stores here on Brawl, at which point Higgimus would go buy from the store. So these guys are the shippers rather than the merchants, so to speak.
Got you.
I was just trying. Okay, so none of the things they're doing are really all that suspicious, and that one guy's just cutting a bunch of freaking corners. Is what's happening.
Maybe. I mean, there's definitely some good suggestions on getting more information the next day. If no one wants to do anything else tonight, no one has any more questions for me or the rest of the party, then we could just move on to the next day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the next day, Yeldin and Leva head over to the Seekers. Braxon, it sounded like you wanted to go kind of check on the underwriters.
Yeah, I'm not sure who to go to, so...
Yeah, there is not actually a defined underwriter in the Rock Brawl booklet, but I find it hard to believe that there wouldn't be, especially with as much money as flows through Brawl. So there are a couple underwriters. You're able to you check around, and on the second of the three major places that you go to visit, you're able to figure out that they do some underwriting for House Torlin. What kinds of questions do you want to ask them?
Well, I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Braxon. I'm from the company of the Broken Sword. We're looking into the recent attacks by Scabbers on ships, and I was wondering if your company actually pays out claims for people that lose ships.
Yes, if someone's got a policy with us, then we would certainly do a payout. I understand from my secretary that you're asking about House Torlin. You understand a lot of this information is confidential.
Obviously. Perhaps we could have a hypothetical discussion.
Hypothetically speaking, I see,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, so we've not uncovered anything, but there seem to be some suspicious things that have me wondering. I'm wondering, do you have people that investigate to see whether fraudulent things happen? that
we do.
could make you appear to be paying out for a loss when something hasn't been lost.
If we are suspicious, certainly, yes, we do. Was there a hypothetical situation you were curious about?
Okay, well, we don't have firm evidence, but
well, sure,
we're
talking hypothetically here.
Yeah, we're going out to look for things, and if you would like us to go to look for evidence, or if you would like to send out an investigator with our ship, perhaps we could assist you. The things that seem to be emerging at the moment is we have a hypothetical ship that might not have been in brilliant condition that's got attacked. And I was wondering whether this hypothetical ship was insured as a ship that was in bad condition or a ship that was in perfect condition, which obviously would have a different value.
And you're talking about a hypothetical trading house that may have hypothetically lost it to a giant Scavver attack. Hypothetically, of course.
And a hypothetical ship where pretty much the entire crew seems to have got ill and missed out on the fateful voyage where the ship was destroyed. Apart from the captain.
You mean the helmsman?
Apart from the helmsman. Wasn't the captain on there as well?
No, it was the helmsman and that one sailor.
So no, I mean the captain hired a new crew.
Oh yes, the captain hired a new crew. So the
captain would have sailed on the ship that got destroyed,
right,
unless he was ill as well.
Well, and okay, that you don't know about. You know, you were told that he hired new crew, but you don't actually know if that captain was on the ship. But to answer your initial question, he responds, well, hypothetically, we do regular checks of the ships that we are covering, and we would certainly not underwrite a ship as a pristine new ship, so to speak, were it not in that condition. We would only have covered for the quality and state it was in at the time of its loss, or near enough to it. We generally do the checks about every 2 to 4 months, depending on the trade routes and times that they're in port. And hypothetically speaking, this ship would not have been considered and not have been underwritten as a good quality ship.
Right. So hypothetically speaking, there might not be a big payout for this.
No.
Right.
Now, there would be a payout.
Mm-hmm.
Just not a particularly large one.
Yes. Okay. So hypothetically speaking, this doesn't sound to you like it would be possible fraud.
Well, if they happen to attack the ship themselves, hypothetically speaking, that would still be fraud, even if they were wise about how much to underwrite it for.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, my group is about to go Scavver hunting, and we'll be trying to destroy the Scavver that's threatening the ships. So I wonder if there is any sort of service we could offer for you.
Not directly, but should you find out that there was in fact some fraud involved, perhaps in something that we underwrote, there would be a finder's fee. A small percentage of the overall payout would that we would recover would then go to you. Say 1,000 gold pieces.
Okay, that sounds fair. So, if we were to discover anything, what sort of things do you think we would need to recover.
Basically,
order-
documents,
in
incriminating
document.
documents. That would be a requirement.
Okay. We'll keep a special lookout for that sort of thing.
Okay.
What was this guy's name?
I don't know. I'll come up. I'll come up with.
Okay,
and
okay,
give it to
but
you.
Braxon knows his name.
Yeah.
So he says, "Thank you very much." Insert name here for your time.
Yeah, I wasn't
if we-
expecting. I honestly was not expecting you guys to go in this direction at all. So, I will come up with a name for him. But
Braxton's basically looking for anyone who will
Oh.
pay him for doing the same job.
no, sure, and this is. I mean, this is also giving you an opportunity to get new information. So, I'm
Yeah.
happy with the way that this is going. I like this.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
No problem. No problem. All right, so you got some information from them and a potential for an additional reward should you find appropriate information. You know, of some nefarious, fraudulent goings on.
It sounds like if we do find said information, we just ruined that guy.
The underwriter or the house?
The house.
Well, I mean,
Well-
if you find information, then that means that they were committing fraud anyway, and that probably means that they're behind it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Braxton
either that
wants to find
or you know, if you find no information, then they either covered their tracks or they were not perpetuating any fraud whatsoever, and not behind this at all. So,
Well, it could. The more likely, the more the way is like, oh, he found out that the one ship was sunk earlier, like 3 weeks ago, right, and took advantage of the situation to get that ship sunk. Hence, why his helmsman survived.
that's certainly a possibility. It's certainly something to
Yes,
consider.
yeah.
And
In that case, either we find the helmsman and get them to confess to that sort of thing, if that is in fact the case.
Well, if the
Or we find a piece of document in the ruins of the said ship.
also, as a side note, when you got up this morning and you all left, there was no information waiting for you at the inn.
right, brilliant. So, well,
It might
I
be there
think
this afternoon, right? I didn't expect it right in the morning.
I didn't expect it at all.
I think
Mhm.
Yeldin that if we find out that our hunch that this giant Scavver is a ship disguised as a Scavver, I think that's quite an indication that it is fraud of some sort, either piracy or something else.
It's more likely piracy, but
Yeah.
anyways, I'm gonna get. I guess we'll find out. I guess we can find out now whether or not it is a giant Scavver or not from the sounds that were heard.
Well, you and Leva do make your way to the Seekers, and with the assistance of some of the librarians, are able to find some materials on Scavers. Now, what specific information are you looking for besides sounds that they make?
Color.
Anything that, and is there like a particular sound that can call them to ships to a certain location or cause them to go into a frenzy?
All right. Well, first of all, Leva, you were asking for color.
Yeah. What possible colors can they turn up in?
All right. So there are 5 known breeds of Scavver. There are the gray Scavers, which are the smallest ones, and the book goes into depth about how the specific colorations can vary from crystal sphere to crystal sphere, but they fall within certain parameters. So it might be like greenish gray to bluish gray to just a flat slate gray kind of thing for the gray ones. I'm pulling up the list of Scavers right now. There are the brown Scavers, which it mentions have a the ability to breathe out a poisonous cloud. And again, they're various shades of brown, varying from crystal sphere to crystal sphere. There are the night scavers, which are always black, just pitch black, with small white spots along their body. And then there are the largest of the normal wild space ones called void scavers, and they're just flat black, jet black across the entire body, no white spots whatsoever. And then there is the fifth type, the enormous sky scavers from the world of Alabeth, which are generally whitish on top and bluish on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the colors that that these books describe. In terms of sounds, there's wordy descriptions of the sounds, but it talks about growls and the sounds of the body itself. Nothing about a keening or a hum that you can find for any of these creatures, but given that they are space-dwelling creatures and sound doesn't go beyond the air envelope, there's very little actual information about the sounds that they make anyway, because most of the time you wouldn't be hearing it. I mean,
Okay.
if a Scavver passed by outside of your air envelope and it was making a deafening growl, like enough to blow out your eardrums as it moved, once you entered its air envelope, if it's outside of your air envelope, you can't hear a single thing. It is silent as, a silent 15-foot radius spell.
Okay.
Okay.
And no, there's...
Looked like we wanted to know the color, but okay.
And there's no information about anything that can summon them other than the smell of food and blood.
Okay. So, AKA, it's probably not a Scavver.
Well, again, you see the information about the Scavers. Gray ones generally are about 6 feet long. Brown ones are about 10 feet long. Night Scavers are 15 feet long. Void Scavers are 20 feet long. The Alabeth Sky Scavers are 100 feet long, but the Scavver that you've heard about is 150 feet long.
Yeah, AKA bigger than any of them all.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not something that people have not seen before. The book definitely talks about the possibilities of unusual Scavers. There's one mention of a rumor of a distant crystal sphere that has oddly shaped Scavers with oddly shaped hammerheads, and yet still one eye.
Yeah, but if it had been one of those, people probably would have noticed.
Well, yeah, but what I'm getting at is that the book does not rule out that the possibility that this could actually be a strange new Scavver. It talks what Scavers do. You get some more information about their biology. After they eat, they kind of go into a dormant phase, and they will just drift and coast along within a crystal sphere or in the phlogiston until they encounter an air envelope, at which point they wake up, and if they're hungry, they attack. So they live for a very long time. They have the ability to essentially shut down their biological functions and, wait until food comes to them.
So it's not possible for a Scavver to see a ship from very, very far off and make a beeline directly for it.
It's possible.
But it's highly unlikely.
With the types that are known, that sounds unusual. But Scavers that have, once they've woken up, if they find themselves in a fairly densely populated area, near asteroids and stuff like that, there's no reason for them to go into any hibernation if they can just move about and find more food. It definitely talks about that.
Do they stop feeding when they have enough, or are they like sharks that get into a feeding frenzy?
They can get into a feeding frenzy, but they will eat until they, I mean, they'll eat their fill, if they're not in a feeding frenzy, and
No gorge.
yeah, I mean, if they're not going into a hibernation period, and like let's say they encounter some carrion, a ship that has everyone on it has died, and they can eat a little bit of the meat, and then wait. They don't, the books talk about that they have no qualms about eating rotten flesh and stuff like that. So, they can just keep some of the food around for a little while, and even if it's begun to rot, they'll eat it later.
Does
and they're
it
fine.
rot in space?
Depending on it depends on the air envelope and stuff.
How long would it take for a Scavver to become really, really hungry?
A very,
Usually.
very long time. If it's been hibernating, a very, very long time.
Probably years.
If they encounter a group of ships, will they kill everybody?
So
or just,
not within a week. So within a week's time is not long enough.
Leva was
for it to
asking a question.
starve.
Leva was asking a question.
I was asking all the question.
Yeah, I know. You were asking me a question. I was getting ready to prepare an answer. What? Go. Reiterate it, please.
If they encounter a group of ships, will they kill all the ships, everybody on all the ships, or will they just kill and eat until they're full, and then they let the others go?
It depends on. It depends on a lot of factors. You get some information out of it, out of the books about their eating habits and stuff like that. The smaller ones tend to, they'll be content to eat scraps, thrown overboard, garbage, that sort of thing, carrion. They usually won't be aggressive or, they won't have the courage to attack a ship full of people.
Okay.
The larger you get, the more likely they are to attack. Some of them are cunning enough that they'll hide in places beneath the ship that are inaccessible or hidden from view. Like it mentions that they may swim along the keel of a galleon. Where the crew doesn't usually go, can't usually see, and then every once in a while they'll come out, eat a person, and then go back under, and cunning enough to wait until, there's one person up on deck, they'll swoop in, eat them, and then go back to hiding kind of thing.
So they're not like cats that kill mice for the fun of it?
It talks about only the largest, the void scavers, as the ones that are likely to do something like that. But they still will generally only kill to eat.
Okay.
And for those on stream wondering what a Scavver looks like, I've pulled up an image. Well, actually, I can just show it to you guys as well if you want to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Yeldin, you also had a question.
Yeah, I was asking. So a week in between is not a time where they could go starving, right?
If they've basically shut down their bodily functions, they can go much, much longer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it's not likely that it's... And not to mention that these seem to be the only two ships attacked by said giant Scavver. And it would be a lot more ships being attacked if it was the case, right? From the sounds of it?
The book has no information about Scavers that large. There isn't a whole lot of information about the Sky Scavers of Alabeth, but considering that Alabeth is not a major spelljamming port, there isn't a whole lot of information about ship attacks from them.
I was looking more at like they only kill to eat. They kill to eat, and if the a Scavver that big would need to eat quite a bit.
Yeah, but the people on a ship would make a very fine meal.
It's still 150 feet is a huge Scavver.
Yeah, but there's also space whales, Kindori, space fish, Krajan, things like that in space that it could also be eating. They don't eat just people.
I know, but I'm just thinking that I would think there would be a lot more information about a Scavver that freaking big from the sound of it. One, it's unusual. Two, it needs a lot of food to keep awake. And three, it's only attacked 2 ships that have passed through that area.
That people
And
know about.
From what I understand, that's a fairly common shipping route to the Forgotten. A lot of stuff gets shipped to realm space.
But there's only 2 that people know about. There was a ship from one of Brawl's wasps that went out to patrol those specific shipping lanes that has not returned. That was at this point is now 2 days overdue. And everyone is basically saying that that they believe that it was attacked by the Scavver. Keep in mind that like if you guys decided to do shipping yourself, like you went and bought a galleon and decided to do shipping, you're not a trading house. You're just an independent merchant. And if you went missing, unless you
Nobody
had family,
would care.
yeah, basically no one would know. No one would really know.
Okay.
So we can't actually conclude anything from reading the books. Is there anybody in the Seekers who is more knowledgeable about Scavvers?
Asking around, unfortunately, no. They don't have any people with Scavver sage knowledge on the premises at this time.
Would they know someone on Brawl who might know more?
They would, and they tell you that as far as they know, there aren't any people, all that knowledgeable on Scavvers. To a certain extent, very few people have enough interest in what are normally considered pests, even if some of them can be pretty dangerous.
Okay.
The larger Scavvers, the Void Scavvers and Night Scavvers, not that common. And they still tend to avoid big places like Brawl. So very few people, care enough about Scavvers to learn much about them.
That would sort of go together with the survivor not knowing all that much about Scavvers.
Yeah.
And whether it really was a Scavver. Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to think of more questions, but I can't think of it. But I honestly, I think my characters come to the conclusion that it's possible, but it's more likely that it's a disguise. But any methods on is there anything about effective ways to fight Scavvers or Scav things like that in the book?
Well, the smallest gray Scavvers, there's a little bit about being attacked, and it one thing that it mentions is that they can be driven off with by a well-armed party just making a lot of noise, unless they're very, very hungry, at which point fighting them like normal is, normal monster is considered effective. The larger ones, it recommends attempting to shoot them with ballistae and things like that for maximum efficiency. It does mention that the gray scavers are their meat is edible, but not very tasty. But it is nutritious and filled with a variety of vitamins, so it is suitable for, basic food for long voyages, whereas night scavers are delicious. It is considered good luck to catch one at the end of a journey. And brown scavers are poisonous.
So do I understand you right, that the smaller scavers at least are sensitive to noise?
Not per se, but they're sensitive to aggressive action that could frighten off an animal.
Okay.
I guess with my animal knowledge that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because I have special animal knowledge and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that strikes you as very similar to most normal predatory animals,
like wolves and stuff
Yeah, if you make a lot of noise, make yourself seem dangerous, they're less likely to deal with you.
I was thinking probably like a shark. I'll probably be comparing them a lot to sharks.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't know a whole lot about sharks. You would compare them to things like wolves and stuff like that, and there are some similarities.
Cougar, I think it.
The scavers, the smaller the scaver, the more likely it is to
Run
operate
away.
in a group.
So the pack animal.
Not per se, but they, they know that if one of them is going to eat, then the rest of them are likely to eat too.
So you're actually crediting them with quite some intelligence.
Not really. Just some basic animal intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so animal. Okay, so animal intelligence would not no. An animal would it logically make sense with an animal with something with a normal animal intelligence lock onto a ship like I don't know how far away it was, but it's 150 feet long and it was spotted, so it can be spotted from quite a far ways away, right? Something that big?
Yes, but not far enough away for the ship to get away.
Mm-hmm. So, escape it that big, spotted. Yeah, didn't appear for quite some time.
I mean, they didn't give you an exact distance, but they did try.
Well, yeah, I know.
The House Calhane ship did try to fire on it, so they had some time.
What was the result of it? What type of firing were they using? What type of weapons did they say they were using?
I'm trying to remember. Let me see. They did not have heavy weapons. I know that. I think it was 2 medium ballistae and 1 light catapult. They had the standard galleon armament.
Okay. What did they say the result was from the weapons hitting?
As far as they saw, no effect.
So it's like they bounced off, basically.
They didn't say that. The sailor said that they didn't see any effect. Now, I mean, that could mean that they lodged in the skin. Maybe it's just too thick of a hide for the weapons to really penetrate. You don't know. They didn't expand on that enough. You didn't ask about it.
Did they actually swim?
And from what I understood, that it didn't. They said they weren't. They were also saying they weren't really paying attention to the Scavver itself, but trying to maneuver the ship.
The sailors were, yeah. They weren't on the weapons.
Yeah.
So. You had a question, Leva?
Yes. Do they swim when they move around? Do they swim? all out with magic, so you couldn't actually see a movement.
They swim very much like regular sharks do. They swim through space. Yes.
The
Okay.
space sharks. Basically, Scavvers are space sharks.
Yes.
But that's beside the point.
I'm trying to remember that what we were told about this from one of the people.
If I remember,
or whether that Scavver actually moved around properly or not.
They weren't paying enough attention to it to give you a whole lot of information about that.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like they said it was gray, though. I remember that.
I think I said gray-brown.
Did you?
I think so.
It wasn't
There was
just
no.
it was
gray brown. Okay, it was gray-brown, which means it could have been a poisonous one, but it was no poison breath attack at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to note. So that's a mark of it not being an actual Scavver. There's a possibility that it didn't actually bite. They just assumed that it bit down on the ship. Because if I remember correct, they said it like hit the ship, and then it was like shaking the ship, but it didn't say it actually bit. Its unusual size, which is another possible mark against it. Of course, there's possibilities of it being, but it was spotted. It came directly towards the ship from a very long distance away. Not entirely sure how far away, but it was quite a ways away because the lookout spotted it, and it was a good 5-10 minutes before it actually got there.
I don't remember if I said time, but remember that in ship-to-ship combat, movement is from a very long way away. Everything on ship-to-ship combat takes place over a very long distance. They take place on the hex grid map, which is 500 yards across. So,
the lookout spotted the Scavver, and then it was a good while before it actually showed up.
I don't think I said that specifically.
Well, the way he alluded to it, it's like the lookout said something we didn't. It was like, okay, Scavver spotted, and then they kept on going for a while, and then it attacked.
If I remember correctly, it was that they didn't pay it much mind because Scavvers generally aren't that dangerous. Certainly not to a ship itself. So the attack did take them by surprise. But whether that was 10 minutes or 2 minutes, I don't believe I specified that.
Okay, then I won't mention that.
I mean, if you were to go back and ask them, I don't mind telling you that it was a handful of minutes. Not 10 minutes. 10 minutes is much too long.
Okay. I don't... I think my character had come to a conclusion. It's more likely not an actual Scavver, but it's still quite possible it is. But very unlikely.
Well, Leva has come to the conclusion that we still don't know enough.
Well, I think that's basically what Yeldin's conclusion is too.
Except I'm leaning towards the fact that it's very likely that it's not an actual Scavver.
All right.
We are essentially saying the same thing, but in degrees different.
Yeah.
We just don't know, and he says I'm leaning towards
one thing, but still don't know. Yeah. Was there any other information you wanted to try to glean from the books?
I'm gonna see if there's anything I'm gonna see if there's any possible thing that can make such a loud whistle sound or low humming sound.
That's a bit too general of a question.
I know. I was just trying to think. I was thinking, We need to find that helmsman, is what I think I say after that. So I don't know how long you want to say that took us, but it probably took quite some time.
Yeah, this was most of the day for you two.
I was going to say we'll head back to the end to see if that information's come in yet.
Okay.
I wasn't
What after the talking to the underwriters, what did you want to do, Braxon? Did you want to do anything else?
Braxon actually wants to swing by the watch and go talk to Deroth, the guy we spoke to before when there was the murders in the street, to see if we can get any reward or assistance with looking for the paper wasp.
Okay.
But he might try and set up a meeting that other people can come to, rather than just do that on his own.
All right. Well, that's it's still fairly early in the day for you. I mean, not early, but you're probably looking more at like noon, 1 p.m. kind of thing. Whereas Yeldin and Leva, they finished up maybe around 4-ish.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much time you're going to carry on streaming, and there's other people that.
So I kind of want
there's other people who haven't had a turn yet. So
it's 4 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
more wanted to line up what the plan would be for next session.
Yeah, well, that's what Braxton wants to do next time, because it's possible we could get some information on the paper wasp, or they might want to send someone along with us. They might give us some magical assistance if we're going to possibly go rescue their ship, or they might pay us.
Okay.
Yep. That was basically my idea. Also to go speak with our friends at the Watch, and then also maybe talk to that other guild. I know, well, there's some other people that don't want us to, but I still think it's a good idea just to hear from them or her.
I have a question, sort of out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Does the Thief Guild have access to ships?
Not really. Like, I mean, depends on your definition of, or what you mean by access.
Could they? Well, would they be part of a crew, or
no?
Or would they pay to hire out a ship, so to speak? I don't know how it would work. Say if they've heard of something.
Generally not.
Right.
That's
just
like
grounded
way
on
out.
the asteroid.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's like way outside of their general interests. The Juggler's Men would almost certainly have no interest in that. The Red Masks would very likely have no interest in that. The Yakuza might have a little bit of information. I mean, a little bit of interest in that, but that's more along the lines of protection racket type thing, extortion. The Halflings Thieves Guild would probably be the most likely who might actually do some stuff. Now, there is some smuggling going on as well, and again, that's mostly through the Yakuza and the Halflings as well.
I was just curious. I might have had
but no, I mean, you're exploring the possibility of other avenues of gaining information, so yeah.
My character would probably do something that would evolve around the that warehouse. He isn't sure. I haven't really come up with anything yet, but something evolve around that basically. That I was out before.
You could always try breaking in.
Well, yeah, I might lead up to that, but obviously there's a prelude to that. So.
And there's also Calhane's warehouse and Torlin's warehouse, as well as their actual manors. You know, I mean, if you're interested in that.
No, I was also thinking about, if my contacts in the Thieves Guilds, they tend to rob these houses. They might obviously not let me do it, but they might let me come along if all I'm wanting is like trading in information, basically, and I'll help them out with whatever for no exchange of the late. But I just want the information or something. It's just my train of thought.
You could certainly ask around, see if anyone had anything's planned, but generally that's not how the Thieves Guild operates that much. They, wouldn't be a case where, yeah, we're planning on doing this, sure, you can come along on the jaunt. It would be more of a couple of them would plan it, they'd go off and do it, and then they'd, pay their fee to the Thieves Guild.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not exactly that organized.
I've got this idea. Do you want to do it?
Well, no, not right now. Not right now.
Yeah, no, I know that. I was just saying it in character.
Oh.
As an NPC.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. I mean, you could certainly try. You could certainly ask around. And who knows, maybe one of them has burgled one of those houses before, recently or something like that. Maybe there's some information that can be revealed to you that way. It's it may be an avenue worth following up. So we can talk about that. The possibility of that next session. Anyone else have any final things?
Well, the only thing I'd say is I think we would have all arranged to have done our morning things and then met up for lunch or something. So I think maybe when you do the next game, maybe Higgimus and Ockar could go talk to that third house. And Lafdul can go off and do his sneaky thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely ask ask everyone else, whether they were waiting until later or whether they wanted to do that first thing, and kind of go back in time a little bit to handle the things that they do alone. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, everyone gets 50 experience points.
Okay.
Woohoo.
Braxon, you get an additional 50 experience points. And
50 and 50?
Yes.
Nice.
And Leva and Yeldin, you each get 50.
Nice.
I wonder if the Scavver thing's even a real thing, or if we're just fighting over nothing.
Well, there's definitely something out there, because ships have gone down.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gnome's got something to do with it. That rumor about the gnome pirate.
But I am very excited for the conclusion and for figuring out seeing people talk about who was right, who was wrong, who had the right ideas, who had the wrong ideas, that kind of thing, who was way off base. Ooh. I'm excited for that eventuality. Anyway,
yeah, it's fun.
Did Braxon just level up?
I don't know. Did you?
I'm trying to find a page with XP. Yeah, Braxon just leveled up.
Nice.
Should I roll is it D10?
Or you can just take 5.
I'm not taking 5. Should I roll D10 for the stream now or next week?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go for it.
Go for it. What's the worst that could happen?
I can roll a 1. That's the worst that can happen. Oh, let's not roll a 220.
You get to reroll ones, though.
Yes, I allow re-rolling ones.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Well, I didn't know that.
You have to say, now I'm going to roll a 10.
Ah! Well, it's still a 3.
All right, and you get +1 for your constitution.
I get
so
+1.
Okay.
All right, thanks very much.
But still, rolling a 3 is better than rolling a 1.
It's better than rolling a 1, yeah.
It's better than rolling a 2.
Thanks very much.
All right, did anyone
Thanks
else gain a level or anything?
No, I'm close. No,
Okay.
I'm still pretty far off.
See, Lafdul, you just need to do more thiefy stuff.
I was doing. I stole some clothes.
and you got some experience points for that. Anyway.
You can't really do much thiefy stuff when you've got a paladin in the party.
Sure he can, he just doesn't tell you.
He's going to have to use some
He just
Gnomish
lies.
underpants.
He just lies like crazy around you. That's fine. It's fine.
Well,
I mean, as
Leva
long as he
knows-
doesn't have any nefarious plans for it, you won't know.
Leva knows a little bit more about him now. But she decided to keep that to herself, or at least not share it with Ockar because she thinks he might get upset.
Indeed. All right, well, I want to thank everyone for playing, and thank everyone for coming out to watch the stream, and we shall see you guys in the next one. Looking forward to it. See you then.
Joining us.
Thank you.